Welcome, everyone. This is the Tony Casillas Show, IMTC. Thank you for joining my show. If this is the first time, welcome. If this is your third time, considering this is our third episode, welcome back. First of all, you're going to enjoy my guest today. Let me just give you a little hint. She's attractive. That's all I'm going to give you. As you know, or you may not know, this show is derived of more life and more perspective of personality. Whether it's a celebrity, whether it's an athlete, whether it's a first responder, whether it's a military vet, people making an impact in our society. We like to interview them and talk to them about more the life, success, adversity, where they've gotten, really life stories that have really catapulted them where they are now. We have 3 segments, which I really enjoy in this show. X's and O's. X's and O's is when we ask them to give advice, whether it's on relationships, dating, marriage, those type of things as far as, relationships. We also have one that I really think that we all can relate to. That's binge watching, because that's kind of what we've been doing since COVID. Ask them what their favorite shows, and maybe it's something they're binging as far as spending time with their family or exercising, just to get their mind away of what we're experiencing right now. And we're going to talk sports because, hey, look, it's in my DNA, and we're going to talk football. We're going to talk about the Cowboys' past week opponent, and also we're going to get into the upcoming NFL schedule. So we're going to get and talk a lot about football. I guarantee you that. I also want to encourage you guys to be involved on this platform, on this show. When you're watching the show, be very active on social media, whether you're watching on Facebook Live, whether it's YouTube Live, Apple TV, whatever the case may be. We're going to have different platforms that the show is going to be seen on later on in the year. So we want you to be part of the show. So send in your comments, your questions, and the more involved you are, the more this show gets off the ground and it grows. So we're counting on you to do that and really be part of it, because in the future, in upcoming weeks, we're going to give away some fantastic prizes. So make sure you stay tuned to that. I know a lot of the part of our audience know you as the Real Housewives of Dallas, but myself and my wife, we know you and Rich a little bit know each other longer than that. First of all, you look great, as always, Miss LeeAnne Locken. You're just like wine. The older you get, the better you look.
You're
and
you're
I'm
so
not going to say
sweet. I have
taste,
to
because
pay
that wouldn't be very appropriate. But how are you doing, young lady?
I am doing wonderful. I'm loving life again. It's so nice to be like human again. I feel like I'm human again for the first time, so it's lovely.
You just got this glow when you walked in. I'm like, she looks different. I mean, you look great.
You're sweet. Thank you.
But you got this. You look like you're happy.
I got my spunk back. Yeah.
So it leads me to a question. So what are you doing now that you left the show? The biggest star has left the Real Housewives of Dallas.
Loving life. I'm being super creative, which I've always loved to do. Everybody asks me, how are you handling COVID, the pandemic, being shut down and quarantined? And I have to say, I feel for people who struggle through it, but I have freaking loved it. I, for the first time, was forced to sit still at home and look at my home and why have I never taken the time to fix this place up? You know what I mean?
You got a little bit more pressure on you to do that.
Well, and because you look at it every day and you're like, it's not getting better. You know what I mean? So I just, poor Rich, we started probably in February, end of February, early March, started remodeling stuff. We built a custom fence in one of our backyards. We totally gutted and redid one of our patios, which was added 2,600 square feet. So, every time I look at him and I go...
So you got back with a hammer and put your work boots on and got after it?
Let me just tell you something, Tony. You know me. You know I'm a scrapper. And yes, not only did I design the fence that I wanted with stucco columns and ivy on either side and 12-foot cement boards.
Wow, that's cool.
Which I just basically, it's a facade on top of the fence that we already had. I just got tired of looking at a brown fence.
Yeah.
And so I myself made the plywood boxes, found a product that you could basically just put on that looks like stucco but is not as heavy. And
wait a minute, you're making me look really bad
I'm
because
telling you.
I am not the Mr. Tim, the tool man. And you are shaming me, LeeAnne Locken.
You are so sweet. Believe me, there was a lot of arguing with Rich, like what time we were going to start. You know, like I was really a serious hardcore boss. Like I wanted to be up at 7 a.m. and let's get out there when it's cool. And, you know, let's try to get this section done. I mean, I was legit the kind of person that like we would put a section of fence up of cement wood up and then he'd be like, okay, we are done for the day. And I'd be like, okay, babe. And then he'd leave and I'd paint it. And he'd be like,
wow.
You painted that. And I was like, I want to see what it would look like.
And he probably didn't feel guilty either. He just went in and laid on the couch and
he went and, you know,
did what he,
made a skinny, you know what?
Skinny margarita.
Skinny biatch.
Cold beer.
Diet Coke and vodka.
Exactly.
And rested because let's face it, he had to do all the heavy screwing and hammering and holding, you know. I just sort of stood there and went, that looks good. Move that over a little, you know.
Well, that's going to be my next question. So during this whole COVID, has it been good? I mean, you and Rich, it sounds like you guys have, I mean, we got reconnected with our kids and they went back to college, thank God. But I mean, after a while, what was the good and the bad part of it?
You know what? I'll tell you, I give all props to Rich. He quarantines himself away from me in the house. He stays in his man cave and works from there. You know, he's got his office, he works, he watches his news in there. All the shows I don't want to watch, you know, why planes crash and all these other things, and lets me watch my Netflix, you know, on the sofa, and I get the rest of the house. So it's been really good because by the time we go to bed, you know, he's like, what are you doing tomorrow? And I'm like, I got da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, I got da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, okay, good night. You know, so, I mean, honestly, like, we've lived together for so long. It you know, wasn't much of a change other than now being, like, literally on top of each other. So.
All right, so you're not obviously going, would this have been the 5th season or 4th season if you would have went back?
Right, it would have been the 5th. They just finished filming the 5th.
All right, so what was your biggest takeaway from doing that show?
I think honestly, like the hardest lesson that I continue to learn from any time I do reality television is I will survive, you know? And I hate that seems to be my lesson because I think going in, I should not go in as the strongest individual, but I always do because that's genuinely probably who I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because I'm the strongest, you know, much is required of, and so much is given and much is put upon, and then I always end up exhausted. And so I think that's what you're seeing the difference is. I'm not exhausted anymore. I'm not constantly, you know, swatting off the lies and the BS. And now I just have friends who are like, you know, let's go have lunch and, you know, oh my gosh, Bistro created a patio and it's beautiful. And, you know, I'm rediscovering my love for Dallas, which is nice.
Well, considering you were on that show for a long time, and I mean, what kind of advice would you give people that wanted to go on a reality show on that, considering you were on there for, it would have been 5 years?
Yeah. Be careful what you ask for. And remember, what you think is the most magical thing may end up just being the devil. But I will say this. Steve Noviello, who I adore, I think he is one of the sweetest men on the planet. When I first signed on and we hadn't even started airing yet, I saw him and his wife at St. Valentine's Luncheon, and he had put on Facebook, someone I know and really appreciate just signed a deal with the devil. And, you know, and I said to him at the beginning, I said, you know, the reason I did this show was because I wanted to bring awareness to small nonprofits that would never, ever find the light of day any other way, you know?
Bigger voice.
Yes. And so that's what I did. You know, it's why people call me the mouth of the South. I speak up for fairness. I speak up to spread awareness, and I speak up for what I believe in. And, you know, that's who I'm always going to be, whether there's a camera following me or not.
Now, how hard was that to literally have a camera 24/7? I mean, as a viewer, I mean, I couldn't imagine, especially my life. I couldn't imagine people following me. I mean, that would be a train wreck.
Yeah.
But how hard is that to adapt to? And also, how much of that is like painting a character for LeeAnne Locken?
Yeah.
Well, the villain, whoever that may be.
Whatever they needed me to be, right? Whether or not that was the truth or not, it's
Mm-hmm.
what they needed for the show. First of all, they don't follow us 24/7, thank God, because I was a little concerned about that too. Like, are you going to put cameras? It's not Big Brother. You get a schedule. I mean, Sunday and Mondays are your days off. On Monday, you get the schedule of when you're going to film for that week. So I may have gotten hey, you're going to film a lunch scene on Tuesday and that's it. You're not going to film all day Wednesday. You're going to have a dinner with someone on Thursday, all cast party Friday, and then a catch-up scene on Saturday. So you don't film 24/7, which is good. But at the same time, I think what people don't realize, and what I myself didn't realize while I was in it, is how much your brain is constantly geared towards thinking about what's happened, what's going to happen next, and how do I help myself? Or how do I defend myself? Mostly for me was, how do I defend myself, especially against BS and lies? That's just the hardest thing. It really is the hardest thing.
All right, so my wife is a big fan of all the franchise, and obviously Real Housewives of Dallas because you're on it. How much of that is authentic? I mean, I've seen you, and I know you personally. I didn't know that part of you because you weren't on a reality show.
Yeah.
But how authentic is that?
I mean, I'm not going to say that early on, me getting upset and overreacting and getting agitated and having a big amount of anger in me, that was me. Yeah. I mean, listen, but you have to think about it, Tony. How many times in our authentic lives are we genuinely pushed that hard to be, somebody pushes you in the corner, Tony. You're not going to be like, excuse me,
right.
I'd like to get out of the corner.
So this is people actually pushing your buttons and you having to react to that.
And the reality is...
And some people don't think, I guess they think that that's more, not staged, but it's more production.
It is staged. It is production.
For you to push your button and you're not...
It is production.
It's like you see it coming.
No, listen, you get to a point where, season 1, I didn't see it coming. And then season 2, I was like, watch your alcohol intake. Don't let these girls get to you.
Well, I'd have to drink a lot of alcohol on that show.
You know what? Season 1, you hold your drink. You're holding your drink and it's out of your peripheral, and they're filling it up without even telling you.
I'm sure.
So there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
I will say season 2, I watched my alcohol intake. I controlled myself a little better. I started to get in touch with why I was reacting the way I did.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge therapy growth lesson for me to be on the show, but I'm not going to deny that, my reactions to anything or anyone on that show were not authentic. And I think that is what the production company counted on the most, which is why all roads and basically all storylines led to me, was because I wasn't ever told by production, go push. I mean, other girls, and I've got text messages from them on my phone, other girls were legit told, attack LeeAnne.
Yeah.
Go attack LeeAnne. Go push LeeAnne. Go make LeeAnne angry. Carrie Brittingham was told to attack me in Mexico on the very first trip last season. And I didn't know that until later when we sat down, and I was like, okay, look, I would like to work this out because, I'm not what you think, and I'm praying you're not what I think. And, she was like, yeah, they told me to attack you. And I just told them, I don't know you well enough. Why would I attack you? And I go, well, you're one of the few people that didn't follow instructions. Brandy she's just a little paid rabbit, man.
I was going to ask you about it.
She will jump on anything that moves as long as they tell her.
I guess the saying about redheads is they're fiery, and I don't remember her being quite like that on game day, but...
Yeah. Well, once again,
it's good TV, right?
It can be good TV. It can be good TV. I will say that I think you get in it, and what happens is you get so wrapped up in it. It's kind of like football.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing, and it is legit all you're thinking about. What am I going to do next week? How am I going to make this better? How am I going to, you're reviewing what you did before.
It's a performance.
It's a constant performance. Mm-hmm. So then when you're out of it, you're like, oh my God, dude, I remember to put deodorant on today. This is awesome. I'm human again, and then I think that you realize then what an addiction it is. You know, I've had long conversations with Tamara Judge and Vicki Gunvalson about this, and you're in the system of housewives, and then when you're out for the first time, you're like, what am I supposed to do? Because, you know, I'll still see things today. You know, I'll see like the colored smoke bombs and I'll think, oh my God, throw a party, have the smoke bombs, have each cast member come, you know, and it's like, okay, LeeAnne, you're still thinking like a producer, you know? And so that's, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. And listen, and I get it. The reason that I was good at television is because I was really made to do TV. I mean, that's just genuinely after years of being an actress and, you know, really kind of learning lighting and direction and audio and, you know, stepping on each other's lines. Reality was nothing. And having cameras follow me around, I could give a rat's ass.
So did it get harder every year to go back and watch it after it was filmed and go back on your character and who you were and who you're becoming? Did that ultimately come into play on your decision making on not going back?
Yeah. Yes, I will say that. And I will say this lightly, you know, because I do suffer from PTSD, as does my husband. I started to get a little PTSD from being on the show, knowing that every cast trip, get ready, Locken, you're the bull, and they're going to come for you.
Wow.
And so people were like, enjoy, relax, have fun. And I'm like, why? The second I get drunk, you bitches are going to attack me.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be too drunk to defend myself and I'm going to do something stupid, which is what production company needs.
Yeah.
So it just became where it just honestly, yes, we went to amazing places. Did I enjoy it? Not really, because I spent most of my time in the shower or the closet of my room crying.
Yeah.
And that never got shown.
Well, you look great. And
You're sweet. Thank you.
I just can't reiterate that. And whatever your happiness and what you're doing now. One last question when it refers to, you know, your part in Real Housewives of Dallas. What did you most like about being on it?
I loved building my platform and being able to really connect with our audience. So many people today, I can open up Instagram right now and show you messages from people that are like a woman who said, I've never written to someone before, but I want to say thank you. I live in the UK. My husband has a lot of anger, and I've never understood him, and I've never understood what I did to upset him, to set him off. And watching you made me understand my husband so much better that now I know how not to upset him and how I can potentially help him. And you made my life better. You made my marriage better. And I just want to say, I'm sorry for how they treated you, but I love you. And I could never be paid for messages like that.
Those are stories you like to, you know, that you feel like you benefited, you know, you got something out of because you give back to them.
I gave. My whole goal in life was always about, if what I do can benefit others, even if I have to sacrifice a bit of myself, I believe in the end it'll be worth it. And that's genuinely how I lived on the show. I sacrificed a lot more than I wanted, but in the end, I probably helped a lot more people than I'll ever know.
Yeah, you mentioned you give back a lot. I know that you're a big dog lover.
Yes.
Dog advocate for rescue dogs. You work a lot in the community. How has the whole COVID affected rescue dogs and that whole type of agency? What has it done?
It's been really hard. Not only are we seeing fewer adoptions because the process, people can't come into the centers to look at the dogs, to meet the dogs, but we're also seeing people who are struggling to be able to feed their dogs. So they're surrendering a lot of their loved ones. And it's, you know, been something that I will continue to fight for and bring awareness to. And, you know, if someone listening to this is having a hard time feeding their dog, please reach out. We will find someone to provide you with food so that you don't have to give up the one comfort. You know, people don't realize how much of a stress relief animals can be, and they really are. They're my two are my fur children. So I had more conversations one-on-one with my beagle on camera than I think I did any other cast member. So.
And they're always there unconditionally.
Oh,
right?
I know. Oh, so much so.
They don't care what you did or who
they
you
don't
are.
Care. You could yell at them, and they still want to be like, "Do you love me now?" And you're like, "I'm sorry, I'm a bitch. I do love you."
Well, what if groups or other people want to volunteer? Who do you recommend to be able to help an organization like that?
Gosh, you know what? There's a ton of organizations that are constantly looking for even just volunteers. Help them build their Amazon accounts. Dallas Street Dog Advocates, SPCA of Texas. Oh my gosh, there's the little Palm Rescue.
There's a lot of organizations.
Yeah, there's so many of them out there, but I will tell you, even if you just get on Google and Google local Dallas dog rescue, find one you love and just call them up and be like, "Do you need help?"
Don't you? We have a rescue dog, and isn't it amazing that they seem like that they. I don't know if they love you more, but
they know.
They understand that
value
their life, how they what their circumstance and they were before, and they don't want you to leave them. Don't you feel like
that nice?
It is.
It feels good. I come home and Carly does what we call the speedway around the pool table.
Yeah.
I'm like, she smoked crack again. She just goes 100 miles an hour and jumps on the sofa and she's like, "Oh my God, you're home. Oh my God," and you're just like.
What kind of dog food are you giving her?
I know, right? Just regular kibble. But she's just so happy. And I think it's because legit, you leave a rescue dog at home and they're like, "Are you going to come back?"
Yeah. It's a great love. It really is.
She cuddles every night with me. I mean, in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll literally be like this and I'll open the sheet and here's her little beagle face right here. And she's like, "I'm not ready," or "Let's get up."
We have a 60-pound. He's I don't know. He's pit bull. He's a mutt, but he's 60 pounds. He thinks he's a lap dog because and he's such a most loving dog. But I mean, good for you. I also know you do a lot in the community as far as charity work.
Yeah.
So I got to give you props to that for what you do in the community.
You.
What are you doing now, and what organizations are you involved as far as giving back in the community?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I was really fortunate at the beginning of this year to have Brian's House reach out to me. And so I accepted a position as an ambassador of Brian's House this year.
What's Brian's House?
Brian's House is an amazing organization that works with vulnerable children from vulnerable communities. So let's say that you are a very low-income mom and you have a medically handicapped child. You can't just drop them off at a regular daycare. So Brian's House steps in and takes care of your child so that you can go to work, know that your child's going to be safe and protected, get the medication they need, receive physical therapy if they need therapy, receive whatever they need to survive so that when you come back to pick them up, your child is healthy and happy. One of the reasons that I chose to accept ambassadorship for Brian's House is, back in the early days of AIDS, no one would touch a baby that was HIV positive. And the woman who founded Brian's House said, not only will I touch them, I'll take them in.
Wow.
And she took Brian, who was an HIV positive baby, in when the mother died during childbirth. And poor little Brian would have just been put into the system, but no one even in the system would take him.
Yeah.
So Brian's House was founded. And, I find myself connecting to nonprofits that accept and love people who feel unwanted.
Yeah.
Considering that's kind of how I grew up.
Well, good for you. That's
I
so
awesome,
I
don't want anyone to ever feel the way I felt or have shame, or I just really, if I can save someone from having to stress in their life, that's just, there's no paycheck you could give me that could make up for the joy that I get from doing it. You know?
That's great, giving back. It's always great to look at someone's their bio and look at what's your whole life, and I was looking through a couple of things, and 1989. Well,
it was
99.
It was 89.
1989. You were in the Miss USA pageant.
I know.
Do you know you still have your wave
in Mobile, Alabama? No, because that is Miss America.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I did have a swimsuit body. Thank you. But yeah, 1989 Mobile, Alabama, Miss USA pageant. That was, Dick Clark emceed that year. And that was one of his last pageants to MC. Wow. It was amazing.
What was that like, meeting someone like Dick Clark?
Just elegant. Really elegant. Like, you don't see many men that you're just like, that's a class act. And he was. And professionally, just everything about him. And he just was a real doll to work with. He really was. And then, from there, you go off and you do Star Search with Ed McMahon and,
that's right. I forgot about that.
It's funny how people don't realize how much, like I was Miss Makita from Makita Corporation's Tool Girl, signed posters all over the country for almost 2.5 years. And laugh as you will, it was a $250,000 job.
I'm not laughing.
I will say I made more money as the Makita Tool Girl than I did on Real Housewives of Dallas. Okay, people?
Well, you were being underpaid.
I was being way underpaid on Dallas, trust me. Yeah, Tool Girl was easy. Matter of fact, it was between me and Pam Anderson for the Tool Time Girl.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was fun too.
Wow.
Yeah, I have had an amazing life.
I had a big crush like all these other men on Pamela Anderson. So I never met her, but both of you guys in the same room, that would be
too much.
Quite easy.
That would be too much, trust me.
If you will. Also, obviously that led to other opportunities in films, commercials. I got to ask you about, I saw where you're America's Funniest Videos. Home videos on ABC, and your video was picked as a winner on that. Is that correct?
It was chosen by ABC as one of America's funniest commercials of the time. You know what's so funny is I had auditioned. We shot that here in Dallas for Cherokee Casino. And it was this pageant spot. So I was, just come out of pageants, and I was thinking, oh, it's a pageant commercial. I'm going to nail this. This should be, this should be like easy. So I walked in, and I just remember I just went over the top because I knew it was a comedy. And so, they were like, Slate, okay, LeeAnne, give us your name, your Slate. And I'm like, LeeAnne, Locken, Kim Dawson Agency. And Kevin Howard, the casting director, was like, okay, tone it down. Like, okay, come back to life.
That does sound a little, pardon expression, a little pageanty.
It was pageantry. But I just wanted to do everything. So I just had so much fun with it. And I was like, I was blonde at that point. Because remember, for 40 years, I was like genuine blonde. And so I just kept thinking, I made the call back. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see who the other blondes are in this city that can compete with me. And so I went to Dillard's and bought myself a long sequin dress. I went in, it was like when I auditioned for Sin City.
Right.
I balls to the wall character, went in character.
I was going to get that part. Yeah.
Oh man, I had my raincoat on. I had my sequin dress pinned up, my raincoat on. I was just waiting for the next blonde. I was like, who, bring it on, who? And it was like, brunette. I'm like, gosh, dang it, man. Are all the blondes running late? Like, what the hell? And it was like brunette. And so I was like, okay, I got to get a cup of coffee. So I got up and I went to the little coffee room. And then Kevin came in the coffee room and he goes, so I guess you can tell. And I'm like, tell what? And he's like, you already have the part. We're just auditioning brunettes. And I was like, damn it! I wanted to see who my competition was. I love a good competition. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really love to be challenged.
That's funny.
And it was just, and he was like, you've already got the part. And I'm like, all right, game over. But it was such a fun spot. And it really was. I enjoyed it. When we filmed it and I had to lean in and, because in pageants frequently I especially get dry mouth, so your lips will stick to your teeth. So the thing we do is we rub Vaseline on our teeth.
So that's a secret.
You rub Vaseline on your teeth, so you won't do that. And it was so funny because in the middle of the commercial, I was like, "Well, you do too." In your own special way. And the director you could hear him in the background. They were like, oh my God. And you're like, okay, I guess you'll like that.
Unfortunately, I remember some people in Oklahoma used to brush their teeth like that. So that's another story.
Hey,
but that's interesting. Also, your commercial that you did for Wingstop, which was talked about in the NBA playoffs. And that was pretty good.
Fun.
You portray a news anchor and you're giving reports. I thought that was really good.
I had such a good time shooting that spot, and I never got any free wings. Wingstop, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, well, Wingstop, they're the bomb. But
they are the bomb.
Yeah.
You know, when we order, that's who we order from. So.
And also, you've been in I looked at you. You mentioned what was the movie you mentioned earlier? The one you.
Miss Congeniality?
Oh, not Miss Congeniality. That's the one I'm talking. But yeah, I know you've been in a lot of some films. But one of my favorite actresses of all time, Sandra Bullock.
I love Sandy.
She seems to me. So what's your take on her? Because she seems so down to earth.
She is, and so real.
Yeah.
And you know what, Tony? I will say that is one of the things I really love. People who don't give a and are real. And Sandra Bullock is the most authentic human on the planet. I could give you so many examples of times during filming where something would happen and it wasn't let the producers deal with it. Sandy was right there dealing with it herself, making sure that everybody was okay, making sure that everybody was happy. She just was a great person. And you think about all the people that were in Congeniality that I got to work with. Michael Caine.
Oh, that would have been. Oh, he's unbelievable.
Captain Kirk.
Oh, William Shatner.
William Shatner.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Actually, it was so fun. To work with William Shatner was the best time. I mean, when we were standing around doing that top 5 thing, he was like, we got bored at one point.
He's great in Boston Legal. I mean,
he's so talented.
He was just,
but off camera, he's fun.
Yeah,
like he got us all to do a rap, and we each had our little part, and he was like, "Crown."
That's nice.
It was a great time. It was a great time. Everyone on that film was fun to work with.
All right, so we mentioned films, commercials. Do you have anything else that you're getting involved with? And
constantly. I just finished a photo shoot on Saturday for a brand new nonprofit called the Fashion Fund. And it's going to be it's a huge feature in their magazine called Restyled on Instagram. And I'm really looking forward to it. If you go follow Restyled, you might get to see the secret that I'm trying so desperately not to let out of my mouth, which anyone who knows me knows I'm not good with secrets.
I was going to say, do you want to give a little tease?
No, I can't.
No, that's about it right there. We'll get it out of you.
No.
So fashion, you mentioned fashion. What inspires you? What do you look for whenever you create your own type of style?
Outrageous.
What do you like? Outrageous.
Outrageous.
For example.
I love things that really stand out. I like to take, for instance, I kind of agree. I did a reality show called She's Got the Look, which was a modeling competition on TV Land. And Robert Verdi, who is a stylist out of New York, was a judge on it. And he said the most interesting thing that I have kept with me forever. Find something, a t-shirt, but has one unique detail that not every t-shirt has. And that's the t-shirt for you, because that's what style is. To find that one thing that is unique. It's not just a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt that has 3 studs on the arm or the sleeve or fringe or whatever it is. It's just something that's unique.
That you like.
Yeah, that you like. That is a key to your personality. And that's what I love about fashion. If you know me, if you look how I dress, it will tell you how I feel. You catch me in sweats at the Home Depot, I'm feeling
that's the
like
best
a
way to
worker
go.
bee.
That's
like a worker bee.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do
building
something.
something.
I am
building something in your backyard.
Building something amazing. Trust.
You're also an author.
Yeah.
Best-selling book called What's Your Status?
Yeah. You know what?
What's
when
that about?
I started Facebook back in the day when, you could only have one page, and that was they didn't even have public pages back then. And I ended up with 4 personal pages because I had so many people following me from She's Got the Look. And everybody just loved it. I used to put out inspiration every morning. And I got to tell you, it was so nice. You'd hear people like, Nancy Rogers would say, I really loved your inspiration the other day. Or Lisa Garza would say, your inspiration's really gotten me through a lot since my brother passed away. And it was moments like that that made me realize what we speak into the world has a bigger ripple effect than we are even aware of. So I just constantly wanted to add value to the world, and that's where What's Your Status came from. That was what Facebook used to ask you.
I remember that. What's your status? I remember that. I tell you, real funny, the story. My wife on Facebook, it hadn't been around probably 4 months, and this guy sends me a link and says, hey, go up and sign up for Facebook. I'm like, what is it?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I have all these people like friend requesting me, like people from high school, and there's some women, that went to, I don't know, that they could find you. And so she looks at my page, she goes, what is this Facebook? I'm like, I don't know. My buddy just sent it to me. I don't know. And so she goes, who's those girls, women? I'm like, I do not know. And, 6 months later, then Facebook just exploded and she had 1,000 friends. I'm like, that's what Facebook is right there.
Yeah. It takes a minute to understand. Actually, Rich and I, that's truly where Rich started courting me, was on Facebook.
Oh, so was that the dating app back in?
No, it wasn't.
Really?
It wasn't.
So did he message you? What did
he did. He messaged
did.
me, asked for a friend requested me, and then he would write on my page. And at the time, there was another guy that was trying to date me that would write on my page too. And it was really cute watching them compete over me. I enjoyed it.
So what was so special? We're going to get in that because we have a segment called X's and O's. But what initially this kind of led you to Rich? I know he's a great dude, but the way he talked and the way he respected you. What was that? What was it about?
I enjoyed how he is a very good flirt. He's very charming. And I don't think he even realizes how charming he is. Sometimes I have to be cautious. Like, babe, she thinks you're flirting with her. And he's like, no, she doesn't. And I'm like, okay. He's just very charming. But I will say that that honestly, I fell in love with Rich on our first date. Like, we went out and I did not want to go.
What was your first date?
He took me to Fairings.
Oh, nice.
We had drinks at the Rattlesnake Bar.
Oh, great
and then
taste.
We went.
Yeah,
well, he worked off duty at the Ritz, so he knew everyone up there, and it was so sweet. I just remember sitting down to dinner, and I have a little voice that talks to me a lot, and I was like, he's so funny. I think I love him. And then the other little voice was like, you say what? You need to back the hell and like water, bitch. And I remember pushing my wine away, and I drank water for the rest of dinner. And then we went back on the Rattlesnake, and I drank an entire French press pot of coffee. And I went home, and I was like, he's funny. I think I love him. And I'm like,
really?
Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Because I did not believe in love at first sight.
I was going to say, there you go. Love at first sight.
Oh my God, terrible. Yeah. So then I just,
to
that point
till then,
long.
but did you date a lot of, not a lot, but did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
But never found, who you're looking for until you met?
I never found somebody that made me change how I behaved.
Really? That's a good point.
Yeah. I always found the same. And the same is easy because you can behave the same and it's a pattern and it's very lazy and it's easy. And, I just remember the first time that Rich made me change the way I behaved. And I thought, wow, he expects better of me. He wants me to be better than how I'm behaving. And I thought, that's different. And
when you just said that, it makes you think when you're in a relationship, that person's not going to change. Well, they can change. It just depends. But I think it's better, as you mentioned, it's probably better that they change initially at the beginning of the relationship.
Yes.
And that's kind of like something that you saw in Rich.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He made me want to be a better person, and I made him want to be a better person. And to this day, that's still who we are. We still come in and, we're each other's cheerleaders, and it's awesome.
All right, so you mentioned some of the inspirational people you met. You met Dick Clark. What's three? I know you meet a lot of people. What's three of the most influential people you've met?
Tony Robbins, I absolutely love. I will say anytime I ever feel like I'm just lost or at the bottom of a rabbit hole.
Does he really have a size 15 shoe? Because you've seen Shallow Hal.
He does.
He's a big man.
He's a big man.
Okay.
I have a picture with him. He's a very large man.
Sorry.
I love Tony Robbins. I love his keys to. They're little tricks that I've picked up from him along the way for years. Who else? Inspirational to me. Motivation would be really I kind of look for what I need every day, and then I sort of Google whatever I'm looking for. But I would say Tony for motivating me, Joyce, Joel Osteen for my religious motivation. Yep. I absolutely adore.
Absolutely.
I think he's open to everyone. if I told you musically, you'd probably think I was crazy, but I love Cardi B. I just think she's insane. And I think, I'm not saying I approve of everything she does or how she lives, but I can tell you what, she does inspire me. She inspires me, and I love her music. And
I just think entertainers, you can't really judge it because it's in the moment what you listen to lyrics, and if that's what you like, you really can't go in their personal life and really just judge them by that. I
will say Tupac said it the best, and I have to go find my Instagram to be able to tell you what he said. But Tupac legit said it the best, and it was something about it's sad that people judge you for being real, but they love you for being fake.
Yeah.
That's actually exactly what Tupac said. People judge you for being real, and they love you for being fake.
Yeah, I mean that's.
And I'm not into the facade of anything.
Yeah.
All
right, so this is one of my questions, and we're going to get into a couple of different segments. It said, what advice would you tell your younger self, knowing what you know today?
The hardest thing I would tell myself, looking back. If I could go visit myself, I would say, you are loved, you're valuable, and I need for you to believe in yourself, because not believing in yourself is going to cause you a lot of harm and misery.
Well
and
said.
It's something I would probably even tell myself to this day.
3 things that you cannot live without.
My cell phone, my husband, and my animals.
Nice. Texts or phone calls?
Oh, God, text me. Please don't call me. I don't like talking on the phone. I mean, people are like, you love to talk. And I'm like, I really don't. I will answer a text, but if you call me, I will ignore your call.
Mountains or beach?
Beach. There's something about the ocean, that sound. I just spent a week in Malibu not too long ago, and it's just the serenity of it. Whether you're holding a cup of coffee or a cup of rosé, it doesn't matter, because with a beach, it's the perfect day.
That's well said. All right, so we have 2 segments on our show. It's called X's and O's, and we have our guests give their perspective, and which you've already had during the last few minutes of this interview. Insights on love, relationships, marriage, or dating. I know your wedding was just spectacular. We were there.
Thank
you. A lot of vodka served at that.
Yeah, I know. People complained that there was no food. Tony, did you have a problem that there was no food at the reception?
I did not have any food, LeeAnne.
I know.
I had to go somewhere else to have dinner.
You should have gone to McDonald's afterwards, yeah.
Well, no, I didn't think that. But the little hors d'oeuvres are nice. But the drinks are great. And just the whole ambiance. It was a beautiful wedding. How has that impacted your marriage? I mean, how hard was that to go through all that and sift through that and that whole, because it was a production.
It was a production. But you know what? I will say, because you were at the church too. I will say, first of all,
I wasn't at the church. We couldn't make that.
The church.
We just went to the reception.
You missed Rich's vows. He stole the show.
Yeah, I heard that was.
He stole the show, and
I think I saw that on the show though.
Yeah. Once I started down the aisle, I will say, from the minute that I started down the aisle to the second where basically we were like, and we're wrapped for the wedding, like, you need to go hide so that we can get people out of here. It was one take. It was legit. They didn't interrupt the wedding. Nobody stopped and said, could you say that again? Rich, poor Reverend Neil. I mean, yes, I will watch over her with my eye. And, he just turned beet red. He will never have another wedding like that. I can guarantee it. But that's who we are. We're just different people.
It was a lot of fun. I know that. It was spectacular. You're beautiful.
You're sweet. We had the best night. We really did.
And Rich looked handsome.
He did.
So my son,
yes,
he's getting married.
Uh-oh.
And I know, I love his fiance. She's great. I mean, they're getting married next year. And since you've been through all that, what advice would you give him and his to-be bride?
Get a wedding planner. put
She's
everything.
really frugal, though.
That's so find a frugal
That's a
wedding
good thing.
planner.
No, I'm just I'm just saying. I think it's a great thing, Ashley. Okay.
Find a wedding planner. Honestly, I mean, I because we were doing it on camera, did not have time. Not to mention the miraculous amount of production that went into not just my wedding, but the reception as well. I'm grateful to every single person who called Steve Kimball and said, I want to help make LeeAnne's wedding perfect. And that's exactly how my wedding happened. Was everyone, including Emerald City, reached out and where they were like, we're playing LeeAnne's reception. And Steve was like, does LeeAnne know? I
love Emerald City.
And right? And they, they custom wrote that First Dance song for us. And I will say that just figure out what you want, but then also like read frugal is my thing. I mean, if you looked at the fence I built in my backyard,
I just say she likes to save money. I don't know if I'd be frugal.
I don't want to spend money on things
when
that
she
I'm
thinks
not
she can do it
the
herself.
value. Exactly.
Right.
But I will say, you know what? There's a lot of things that's easier if you just leave them into the hands of someone else, that you can focus on the joyful moments.
Yeah, that's a good
just
point.
don't miss the joyful moments.
Because it goes by so fast.
It really does. Once you get started and that train gets going, don't be the cow on the track.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we have another segment. It's called Binge Watching. And as we mentioned earlier, we want to get find out what our guests are binge watching and what they've been watching. I mean, it may not be TV. Maybe you mentioned Netflix. Netflix. Okay, so what do you recommend right now? What's your?
I'm currently watching The Haunting of Bly Manor. I loved a show that I absolutely loved. Made me feel not as smart as I want to be, but made me want to be smarter. Was Sherlock, the BBC edition of Sherlock. Oh my God, it's so good. If you're a control freak, you should watch this, because he would do stuff and he'd be like, and he'd be like, yes, okay. And then he would tell you everything that he just noticed that you should have noticed and you could have noticed, but you didn't notice because you were watching the same thing he was watching. And it was very frustrating for me. So I loved it. I also am ridiculously in love with vampire movies. So you've got, the V Wars, you've got Hemlock Grove. I mean, Schitt's Creek. Oh my God.
I have not watched that.
Oh my God.
I guess I'm going to have to watch it. I hear it's so good. Won all the Emmy Awards and everything.
Freaking hilarious. Hilarious. You will laugh. No, you know what you will really love? Can I tell you? And this is typical of me, that because I'm completely inappropriate when I go to laugh or be,
it's okay
weird.
To be inappropriate.
Hoops. Hoops on Netflix is a cartoon. It's a cartoon, and it's based off of a high school basketball coach who is the most inappropriate basketball coach I've ever seen in my life.
Now, see, I'd probably like that.
You would love it. I love it.
Is he high school or is he?
High school.
High school.
High school. There's a 7-foot tall kid that goes to the school, and he needs the kid to play on the basketball team. So he basically is like, all right, I'll get you laid. If I get you laid, will you play on the? And the 7-foot tall guy's like, Coach, I don't think you're supposed to be getting me laid. Like, but it's so funny. And then he hires a hooker, and then the police stop by when he brings the hooker to the kid's house, and they arrest the hooker. And
I'm about to cue that up.
Oh, it is so. There are moments that literally he will say something. What did the stripper say right before the gangbang started?
What'd he say?
She said, "Bring on the meat." I'm like, I stopped the TV and I'm like,
funny.
Oh my God, I am texting this to everyone. And my friends are like, LeeAnne, that's not funny. And I'm like, it's fucking hilarious. How are you not laughing at this?
Have you seen Nurse Ratched?
No, I want to watch it. It's on it's in my queue. Have you watched F is for Family with Bill Murray?
No, I have not.
Same thing. Richard laughs his head off watching F is for Family with Bill Murray. I'm not kidding you.
Alone, I'm watching.
Bill Burr.
I'm currently watching Alone. It's 10 people that they drop off in the Antarctica.
In the island?
In Antarctica.
Yeah.
And they have to survive. I mean, I don't.
Rich could.
But you get $500,000, but there's like people. I'm like, really? I mean,
$500,000 for how many toes do you lose?
Well, exactly. But
I'm
I
not
like those,
interested.
and there's so much good program on Netflix.
But that to me, that's survival, and that because that's already so keyed into how I live. I don't find shows like that entertaining.
And I know I can't do it. Would never be able to do anything like that.
I could.
You could.
Rich's dad taught survival in Alaska.
So maybe you guys should be on Naked and Afraid.
No.
Have you seen that?
No one is going to see my naked body.
But I mean, I'm watching that. I'm like, after
we watched it.
About the first 8 hours, you're like, there is no
there's
attraction
no
there
attraction whatsoever
when you're trying to like survive.
Yeah.
And that's kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah. And I would say that Rich would do nothing but yell at me on Naked and Afraid. Yeah. Because I'd be like, I gotta, get me a leaf,
Yeah, that's it. All right, so we talked about you. You're talking about you and Rich were featured in Sophisticated Weddings.
Yes, because we just celebrated our 1-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Still on your honeymoon?
No. If he'd just get those dishes from the sink to the dishwasher, it'd be a better honeymoon.
What has changed since you guys since you said I do?
You know what was really sweet because
really?
I didn't think. Everyone asked me, and I was like, "It's not going to change anything. We've lived together for 10 years. That's not going to change." But I will say, the week before we got married, like that week of getting married, Rich, every day was just like it was our wedding was going to be Christmas, and he would just be like, "Can you believe we're getting married?" And I was like, "God, he's really excited to marry me." Like, I think there's something medically wrong with him. But it was just, watching his excitement made me truly realize how much he loves me.
Yeah, isn't that great?
And it's just the best, like we're so rarely put in a situation where we can see our mate's love in action. And I could just see it all over his face. And it was just, And
you guys are actually going to do was another Restyle magazine?
But yeah, he's not going to do it. Just
but you're
me.
Doing it.
Yeah, just me for a nonprofit for the Fashion Foundation.
Yeah, you just mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Fashion Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit in New York, and they take overstock clothing from companies, and then they basically sell them and use it to help women in different areas that are in need. So they have a magazine called Restyled. And it's fun. They've had Jesse James Decker on the magazine. They've had Melissa Gorga, Alicia Quarles from Daily Mail UK. So tons of people.
When's that going to be out?
I think either by the end of this month or beginning of next month. I have to check with them and see.
And on your social media platforms, they can follow on Instagram.
Instagram's
Twitter.
Really, that's it. Like I'm on there every day. I try to be, and I'm storying and doing my fun stuff. So yeah. Instagram, LeeAnne Locken. That's it. It's never going to change.
Well, I could sit here and talk to you all day, my dear.
Only if you offer me watermelon. At this point, I'm on a watermelon diet.
Really?
Yeah, no, really.
Watermelon diet?
Yeah, because Tom Thumb cuts it up for me.
Yeah, but what do you do when it goes dormant? Like when it's out of season?
Oh, I starve. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I've been to this grocery store in October and November.
It's out right now. You can still get a big old tub for $5.
So how long are you going to be on this diet?
No, I'm not really on. I mean, just like I love watermelon.
You know what? Dogs love watermelon. Do you
they
know that?
do. They do. No, you listen. You know what else dogs love? Carly has informed me she loves sushi because she ate my sushi. She loves tiny tacos from Jack in the Box because she ate my tiny tacos. That beagle is. I get what they call female dogs. That word. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. This is so much fun. It's always great to see you.
It's good to see you.
My love.
I will.
Congratulations again. All right, that's going to put a wrap on our show this week. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to the beautiful LeeAnne Locken. What a great interview. Thank you for being part of our show. And I want to tell you guys to subscribe to our show on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Tony Casillas Show. Follow us on Twitter and all the social media platforms. And make sure you're part of the show because your comments mean a lot to us. And also, we're going to give away some nice prizes as we go along. So thank you again for joining our show. Okay, so that's a wrap. See you guys next week. And as always, te amo.